Okay, let's get started. So here's the Pear Deck code once more, CLIYE, confuse lemons, inspect young elephants. The code is also in the chat room, but if you can't see it, if you can't see the code, just write me in the chat room and I'll put the code there for you. All right, here we go. So I just want to give you guys sorry, let me add someone in. Just wanted to give you guys a quick little step-by-step process for just your daily times of logging on to the computer for school each day. So make sure you sign into Schoology each day and check in at each of your classes. For my class, you should see you should see a Google form where you can just write your first and last name, and that will count as your attendance for the day. But you only need to sign in 3 times a week because normally you would only see me 3 times a week at school. Then for my class specifically, make sure you go to Google Classroom each day and check the stream and look at your grades under Classroom. You click on Classroom at the top and then view your work. And then under classwork in Google Classroom, check the week that we're in for folder for videos, presentations, and assignments. And I'll be posting, like I said, the link to my YouTube page. And so you can look for assignments that'll be in the playlist for your specific class. Okay, before we begin, I want us to do a stress check. I just want to see how everyone is doing. Especially in these new and unprecedented times we're in right now. Just want to check on everyone and see how you're doing. So you can move the purple bar to where you feel that you are along the stress scale. So it looks like we have a pretty wide range of how people are feeling. And I've been telling a lot of my students all day today that it is definitely understandable to be stressed out right now. This is all completely new, and just jumping into online school without any preparation can be pretty hard. So I just want you to make sure that you give yourself some grace and let your teachers know that if you're having trouble catching up, that will give you extra time, because we know that it's really hard, and a lot of teachers are struggling as well with moving into this online space. So you're not alone, and we are here to help you. If you need to write anyone at the school, if you have some specific concerns, please do so. Don't keep all this stress to yourself. Okay. I would say that I'm somewhere between like a 4 and a 5. I do have a lot of work to do, but I'm getting a handle on it. And so I'm still able to focus, and I'm really glad to get a chance to interact with you guys. Doing Pear Deck right now makes me really happy. I feel like that we're back in the class together. All right. So now that we've done our stress check and we talked about our stressors, let's actually talk about what is bright in our life right now. What's something in your life that's bringing you joy? Something that brought me joy today is watching you guys write and draw on here like you usually do in class. It reminds me of our great class times in Pear Deck, where you show me all of your amazing drawing skills. Yeah, Ellie, I definitely agree with you. I really enjoy Pear Deck. It makes us feel like we're back at school interacting. All right, I'm going to share some responses. I'm not going to lock the screen, but you guys can still write. So someone found a good place to study. Yes, that is so hard to do if you're in a packed house. And so that is something super bright. Maybe are you drawing your desk? I would have loved to see it. I'm sorry, I went too quickly. I'll scroll back up. I think someone might still be thinking. Are these Z's? Is it sleep? Yes. So something bright in your life is sleep. Man, we were sleep deprived. So being able to sleep more is wonderful. So hopefully your mind is bright right now and you are just taking in all of this information quickly, all the information your teachers are giving you. Let's see. Family. Yes. Family is wonderful. I'm so glad that you all are able to be with your family. And I hope everyone is healthy as well. Sleep, yes. We can't enjoy that enough. Someone is still able to interact with their peers, but they wish we could get back to school. Yes. We can't take school for granted again, guys. Like this is so crazy that we're not in school, but I'm glad that we're able to interact on here. UCLA acceptance. Oh my goodness. Congratulations. That is so exciting. You should be proud of yourself. You guys should like write in the chat room. I don't even know if we can like put GIFs in there, but yay. I am so proud of you. Great job. Turtle heat lamp is pretty bright. Okay. I am glad you have a heat lamp for your turtle and that the lamp is pretty bright. I hope your turtle is doing well as well. Well, oh, I said I was going to scroll back up. Did we finish our drawing? Oh, no, we didn't finish our study place. But I am glad that we do have bright things in our life, and it's great to share that with one another. Okay, let's look at what we'll be learning today. So today we're learning how to define speed, distance, and time, how to calculate speed, distance, and time accurately, and how to navigate positivephysics.org. Now, I know you're thinking, Miss, we did this already. Yes, we did. The reason that we're working on speed, distance, and time again is number one, to learn to navigate positivephysics.org while using something that you pretty much know. But it's also for me to find any gaps in what we've learned before. And we're going to do this by taking notes and responding to prompts in Pear Deck today. And you can take notes of what you see in positivephysics.org. And you're going to show how you learned it by completing the questions in positivephysics.org. And then I'll show some today. I'll show how to navigate that website today. All right. I might skip that because I want to go to positive physics. So we are adding positivephysics.org to our current websites that we use to learn physics concepts. It really helps because it gives us a lot of practice and it gives us great notes as well. And then I'm really able to figure out where our gaps are. And it's positive because it gives you a lot of feedback instead of stressing you out so much. There's a video that I made and it's on my YouTube page, but you can click on the video and save it for later if you did not sign up. If you haven't signed up, please do so. I'll show how to do that at the end of the session today. All right. So in positive physics, what we're learning about is this average speed rule. So we know speed, like we watch the movies like Fast and the Furious and such, and we know that when you're going super fast, you have a high speed. And what speed is actually the distance that is covered in a specific time. So if I tell you that I need you to run 10 miles and you say, oh, I can do 10 miles in like 3 hours, then you can figure out what someone's speed is if they're going 10 miles in 3 hours, right? Or you can say 9 miles in 3 hours, right? And that'll be like 3 miles an hour because you would divide the 9 by the 3. And so miles per hour, feet per second, all of those are speeds, is distance over time. And we've learned about speed and velocity. Speed is a scalar quantity of velocity, and velocity is a vector quantity. Remember, scalars only have a magnitude but no direction. But vectors have magnitude and direction. So if I give you a speed, you don't know which way they're going. You just know how fast or how slow they are going. And we're learning about speed because it helps us determine how long it will take for someone or something to arrive at a destination. So if you've ever used Waze or you've ever used Google Maps, like if you drive, they put algorithms inside of those apps that can help determine how long it's going to take you to get somewhere. So I use Google Maps all the time, and I put where I want to go, and it tells me, we believe you're going to arrive there in 1 hour and 32 minutes. And they derive that based upon the speed they believe that I'll be driving, and what the average speed will be over time. Okay, so these are the speed variables that you'll see in positive physics. So they have these symbols here. And the symbols, this S sub I is for initial speed, and that's how fast an object is traveling at the beginning of a time interval. And it's measured in all of these different units. Everything that I put in a red box, these are the normal physics units. These are the SI units, which means these are the regulatory units in physics. So meters per second is a regulatory unit for the quantity of speed. So S with a line at the top, that is average speed, and that's how fast an object is traveling after half of the time interval. Then we have final speed, which is S sub F, stands for final speed, and that's how fast an object is traveling at the end of the time interval. And then we have distance, which can be measured in meters, feet, or centimeters, but meters is the physics unit, and that's how far an object's traveled. And then we have time, which is measured in second, which is how long something lasted. And then there's acceleration, which is measured in meters per second squared. Now, this is a unit, meters per second squared. You don't have to square acceleration. Units just tell you what the number is measuring. That's what a unit does. So even though you see the squared here, you're not squaring anything. That is the unit for acceleration. And if we get to that later, we'll see why it says second squared. So those are our variables for speed. And this is how you calculate speed. So we know if you have a problem where you have 2 out of the 3 variables, you can determine the third variable mathematically. So if you have for speed, for average speed specifically, you see the S with the line at the top. If you know the average speed and the time, you can find the distance. If you know the distance and the time, you can find the average speed. And if you know the distance and the average speed, you can find the time. And remember, if you have 2 letters next to each other in physics, that means that you are going to multiply them. So this is S times T. And then the average speed rule, if you want to find the average speed, you have to use the initial speed and the final speed. You add them together first and then divide them by 2. But if you already know your initial speed, you multiply the average speed by 2 and subtract the final speed. If you need to find the final speed, you multiply the average speed together by 2 and subtract the initial speed. And these 2 green ones are derived from this equation. All they did was rearrange the equation in blue. Same thing over here. These 2 green equations here were derived from that blue equation, and they just rearranged them. And yes, I'll post these slides on Google Classroom. So in order to find the final speed, you use this equation here. I see that question over here. That's S sub F. All right. So here we have an example question. It says a bicyclist steadily speeds up from rest to 10 meters per second. So rest means 0 meters per second. So initially, they were at 0 meters per second. So SI would be 0 meters per second. And then it said they went from rest to 10 meters per second. So the final will be 10 meters per second. That's your final speed. And then in order to find S with the line above, which is average speed, you have to use that equation. The S with the line above it, the average speed equals your initial plus your final. And then you divide that sum by 2. So 10 plus 0 is 10. And then 10 divided by 2 would equal 5. That's what they did to find this 5 here. So let's try 1. What I want you to do on your screen is I want you to identify the variables that we know by dragging the markers over them. You should have two red markers. What variables do we know? Do we know S sub I? Do we know average speed, or do we know the final speed? So the question says a bicyclist averages 6 meters per second as she steadily slows to a stop. Which two variables do they give us in this question? So drag them over here where my cursor is, either initial speed, average speed, or final speed. What did they tell us? Or you could actually put it over here to initial, average, or final. Either or. I just want to see. They only gave us two. Which two did they give us? Okay. I'm going to start showing responses. Some people are still moving, but it looks like it. So yes, a lot of you noticed they gave us the average speed. So they gave us 6 meters per second. When they say she averages 6 meters per second, they gave us the average speed. And then they gave us the final speed because it says she steadily slows to a stop. So that's what she did at the end. That's the final speed. So what we don't know is the initial speed, which is what we're going to calculate. So which equation should we use? So you have a marker, use your marker to show me the equation that we should use then to answer this question. Out of these equations, which equation should we use to answer this question? So yeah, move your markers over one of these 6 equations. All right, and then give about 5 more seconds, and then I'll show. Okay, so we still have some people wandering around, but most of you are around here. And this is right, this equation with SI as a subject. So we don't know the initial speed. So we will use this equation because we do know the final speed and we do know the average speed. So we'll plug the average speed in and we'll plug in the final speed to find out the initial speed. So this process is what you're going to do for every question. First, you figure out what you know, and then you figure out what equation to use, and then you use that equation to find your answer. So I want you to determine all 3 speeds for this question. You can draw on your slide. What are all 3 speeds? Now you know which equation to use, and you know 2 of the variables. Okay, I see someone writing the variables in. Good. Nice. So we know our average and we know our final. So now we get to determine our initial speed. And just in case, do you guys need to see the equation again? Let me go back. So here's the equation. Remember, so S sub I equals 2 times the average speed, and then you subtract the final speed. So you're going to multiply your average speed by 2 and then subtract the final speed. Right, I'll go back. So you multiply your average speed by 2 and then subtract the final speed. Okay, I see some of you. With it, I'm going to show responses. So yes, okay. So someone found that the initial speed was 12. And you find that because if you multiply the average speed by 2, that would be 6 times 2 would give you 12. And then 12 minus the final speed would be 12 minus 0 because the final speed was 0, which then would leave you with your initial speed is 12 meters per second. That's how that would work out. And I see that with some others. Really great. Good, good. All right. Let's try another one. Can you determine all of the speeds for this problem? So it says a bicyclist rides with a constant speed of 4.5 meters per second. This is a trickier one. The bicyclist rides with a constant speed of 4.5 meters per second. First, figure out which number or numbers they've given you. Oh, I think someone's got it. This is about learning to pick out keywords. So just in the interest of time, I'm only going to give us about 30 more seconds because I do want to show how to use positivephysics.org. Oopsies. Sorry, guys. Hit the wrong button. All right. Okay, so yes, all of the answers are 4.50. And that's because they told you right here that there's a constant speed. So that means the initial, the final, and the average speed are all going to be the same because it was a constant speed of 4.5 meters per second. So if you ever see that in any other questions, they are trying to trick you to think that you have to do equations, but you don't. They already told you the speed is constant, and that means that all of the answers are going to have the same exact speed. Good job. So don't let them trick you. Make sure you recognize that. All right. So our assignment, this is what I want you to get completed in positivephysics.org. I want you to go to the unit 1 that says speed, and I want you to finish the average speed rule, the embedded math, and the vocabulary and concepts. You need to do all 3 of those. And I haven't put them in Google Classroom yet, but I'll be posting them soon. But let's go to positivephysics.org so you can see what it looks like. So this is positivephysics.org. If you have not signed up, you have to click on Students Join Here. And then when you sign in, I think you make your own username. This is my username. But your class code is capital M, capital D, capital H, capital S, and capital P. And then the rest of the word physics is not capitalized. So it's MDHS physics. That is your class code. And then it should allow you to join my class. And then you'll choose your class section as well. So, oh, I don't know my password, y'all. I have too many websites I use. Yeah, I got it the second time. And yes, we can. I see some of them say, like, can we have a way to try again? I'll see if I'm able to reset things, but we'll have more problems that should help your score later on. But I'll check them specifically. So remember I told you I want you to do work. I want you to do the work section. We're not doing the assessments yet. I really want to check on how people are doing. So in this work section, I want you to complete the average speed rule, the embedded math, and the vocabulary and concepts. So you see here, I've started the average speed rule, but I've only done 24%. So I need to finish. And it's also going to tell me my accuracy, right? So the way you start it is you click on it and it will start to give you the problems that you need to complete. And so they'll give you problems just like the ones I just showed you in Pear Deck. And you can click on show answers and such. So remember, once again, you are doing the first three in work. So I want everybody to complete the average speed rule skill, the embedded math skill, and the vocabulary and concepts. And all of them have notes. Please take notes so that it can help you. We will do assessments later on. So someone asked about assessments, we'll do those later on, but I want to make sure we do the work so that I can figure out if there are some questions that are too hard or things that I need to go over. After we finish with Unit 1 speed, we're going to jump back into what we were learning about before in energy in Unit 13. But I wanted to make sure we all knew how to use this website well. So please, please sign on. And if you don't know how to sign on, you can watch the video that I'll put in my YouTube channel. All right, guys, those are our assignments. And it was great talking with you. I'm going to end the recording now.